Okay, in this short video, I'd like to review arterial line waveforms. It'll be a bit quicker than central venous pressures. It's a little bit more intuitive. So on the screen here, you will notice once again at the top an image of an EKG tracing and then its corresponding arterial line waveform tracing up in here. You'll notice a sort of a zoom in of an A-line tracing here in the bottom left. And then here on the bottom right, you'll see that familiar image of an EKG tracing. This blue line here is actually a more realistic A-line tracing that we would see in a typical patient. And then you'll remember this CVP tracing from our previous video about CVP. So let's just review the arterial line waveform tracing with respect to the EKG. So you'll notice the EKG here, the QRS complex, of course, represents the beginning of ventricular contraction. So of course you're measuring arterial blood pressures instantaneously. So these are more or less equivalent to a blood pressure that you might get with a cuff on someone's arm, but you get it beat by beat. So you would expect as the ventricle contracts that here the A-line waveform, our pressure is going to go up. You'll see a sharp rise after that QRS complex. In the A-line waveform, it hits 120 in this case. As systole comes to an end, you'll see this A-line waveform drop down to what's called the dicrotic notch. This is actually representative of the closing of the aortic and pulmonic valves. And then sort of the tail end of this waveform is actually diastole. And so in diastole, it comes down to sort of your baseline or your zero line, which in our case is 80, and so this person's blood pressure as represented by this A-line waveform is 120 at the peak here over 80 in the baseline. And then with each heartbeat there will be a corresponding A-line tracing. So you'll see here five different A-line beats. Down here in the bottom left you'll just see a more blown up version of this. So ventricles contracting, beginning towards diastole here at the dicrotic notch as the aortic and pulmonic valves slam shut, and then this is diastole. So everything under the curve here at the beginning is systole, and everything under the curve over here is considered diastole. And then once again you can see the corresponding EKG, A-line, and CVP tracings. You'll notice that the A-line tracing actually happens a little bit before the CVP tracing, but this is a short intro to reading an A-line tracing. Hope you enjoyed it.